Hi there, happy Tuesday. Today I wanted to start with a concept that I heard a lot while I was working in the corporate world, and the statement was, perception is reality. It was something that I've struggled with a long time for a lot of years because it always felt like while there was some validity to it, there was just more to the story. And I wanted to dissect it a little bit further with you today because my guess is that this is something that you've also faced in your life. So going back, perception is reality. In the corporate world, I could feel how this was true in a lot of senses. The way that people perceived you definitely impacted whether or not you got promoted, how well people thought that you handled your job and situations in your job, how much people liked you, what your year-end rating was. All of those things were directly impacted by people's perception of you. So while that part was true, the other piece that I've really kind of worked out over the last years while I've been thinking about this statement is that while that might be the case, it doesn't mean that perception equals truth. We don't see the world as the world is, we see the world as we are. The truth behind perception isn't the truth of a person or a situation, it's the truth that's in us. It's the filters that we're carrying. It says very little a lot of times about what's going on outside of us and a lot more about what's happening inside of us. Which is why I think it's so important to look into this topic a little bit further. The other side of it that I think is important to talk about is that there's a difference between our intention and our impact as people. So this is not as much as the perceiver, but as the people who are being perceived in the world. A lot of times we have going through our heads the way that we want to impact something. We're trying to make a situation better, we're trying to be kind, we're doing something for a particular reason, but we have in our minds what our intention is. And in reality, a lot of times that intention doesn't actually match the impact of what is happening. That impact is really where the perception comes in. It's where the other person, the other human that you're interacting with comes into play. And a lot of times the way that they interpret what you did or what your behavior was, whatever the case may be, is different than what your intention was. And so that's why it's so important that we have great communication skills and that again, as a person, we can be really self-aware and own ourselves and own our behavior and the way that we carry ourselves so that we can talk through our intention and then we can also understand why the impact of what we did may not match that. I think both sides are really important to understand no matter what side you're on at any given point in time. To illustrate this a little bit further, I want to share a story with you guys. It's something that I've shared in lectures that I've given quite a few times, and it's something that I found to be really powerful and impactful when we listen to it. Part of the reason for this is I think all of us can kind of see ourselves in this situation, whether we want to admit it or not. So here's the story. An elderly woman boarded a train, as she usually did every day. After a few stops, she noticed a father and his adult son, who looked like he was well in his 20s, board the train. They took their seats across from her on the train. Soon, the son started talking very loudly to his father, telling him about all the clouds he saw outside, the buildings they were passing, the trees that were going by. The father listened to him and nodded encouragingly. After a while, the elderly woman got annoyed by how loud the young man was speaking and said to the father, "Excuse me, sir, but have you considered taking him to a special doctor?" The father smiled at her and replied, "Actually, we're just coming back from the doctor. You see, my son has been blind since birth, and this is the first day he has been able to see." When I share this story, I usually get a lot of really big reactions from the audience, partially because of the extent and the impact of that story, and also partially, like I said, I think we all can kind of see ourselves in that scenario, whether we want to tell that to ourselves or not. We've all had moments where we've misjudged and we've jumped to a conclusion very quickly, and when we were able to learn more information out, we realized that our conclusion was really far off from reality, and we feel kind of embarrassed about where we got to so quickly, how we judged so fast. The point of me saying that is, again, I think it's important with perspective to really make sure that you understand what's going on inside of you. There are so many times when a little bit of education and a little bit of extra information completely change our viewpoints on something. And so when we jump to a conclusion so fast, a lot of times we shut ourselves off from being open to reaching a different reality or accepting a new truth beyond what our automatic response was. And the more that we challenge our thoughts and are open to different thoughts, the more likely we're able to really take in a more accurate depiction of what's going on around us. We are open to new information, we're open to changing our minds, and that is a really big thing in this world. It can change everything in your life. It can change everything in the lives of those around you. When we strive to be better, we make everything around us better too. And in my mind, when we are aware of our perspectives and what comes into our minds automatically, and again, we seek more information or we challenge those, we're willing to challenge those, we don't just go with the flow and automatically go with whatever pops into our mind, we allow ourselves to make the world a better place. We allow ourselves to grow beyond what we are today. And that, my friend, is a very beautiful thing. And so that's really the lesson that I have for you guys today. That's what I wanted to share. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where we're going to be talking more about the psychology of perspective and what's really happening in these old brains of ours. So can't wait to share that with you guys too. I hope today was impactful and helpful for you as you go about your lives, and let me know what your thoughts are. Leave some comments for me. I'd love to hear what you think, and have a great rest of your day. See you guys soon.